Hello, my name is Simmer Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let's get going today, shall we? So today I am building another tiny home. I have really been challenging myself to build smaller homes because I'm so used to building bigger homes where I have more space that I can clutter out really well. And I've found that it's really difficult and challenging for me to build smaller homes. So I've decided to do a couple of smaller builds on these 20 by 15 lots. A few days ago, I posted a tiny home for a traveler who is not frequently at home. And today I am building just kind of a rock garden kind of space. So obviously this is an Oasis Springs, and Oasis Springs is a desert. And there aren't a whole lot of plants that are supposed to grow in the desert. So we've got a couple of like aloes, some grasses around, but mostly rocks. As I've mentioned in previous builds, I am from California. I'm from Northern California, but we are still very much affected by the drought going on here. So a lot of people in my city and people I know in California are switching to a more drought-resistant type of yard. And these are usually like native plants, a lot of rock, a lot of dirt, but in a way that's pretty and aesthetically pleasing. These gardens tend to use a lot of succulents and other plants that don't require a lot of water. So given that this build is located in a desert, I thought that would be fitting. So I decided to try that out, see how I do creating a landscaping and yard that is really just rocks. There are some plants in the build. Obviously, you need a little bit just to kind of like bring your eye around the yard, but for the most part, it is mostly rocks. So as I am doing this voiceover, I am considering getting a couple of new packs. I always, well, usually do the bundles. So what I'm kind of thinking is I will do Oasis Garden, I believe is what it's called. I really like garden packs and doing landscaping, and right now that seems to be what I'm enjoying the most when I build. So I might try that out, but I have no idea what else I would do with a bundle. So if you have any ideas, please comment your favorites down below. Give me some ideas of what I should get. Maybe you've noticed I don't have a pack and you think I would like one specifically. I have thought about doing maybe cottage living. I thought about it briefly, maybe the time werewolves came out, but I decided against it and decided to get, I believe, the university pack. I believe those are both the same packs. So yeah, please help me pick out what I'm going to get next. So here again, we're doing our lovely little rock garden. I'm sure you saw me put down like 30 different rocks. What I usually do when I'm doing something I know is going to have plenty of rocks is I go through and I put down 6 or 7 of each type. And then I can go back and make sure, okay, I don't have too many of one, and there's like a nice variety and stuff. But I have also found that it's easier to put down multiple things when I plan on resizing them because shift clicking will give you the item's original size. And it really bothers me that it does that because it makes it more difficult to put down duplicates of a resized item. But that's just me and how I do my landscaping, especially when I'm using rocks and like grass or flowers that I plan on resizing multiple times and in every single item or in multiples of the item. What a long-winded way for me to say that I have a method to my madness. But I do, and I did. Anyway, while we're still kind of doing tedious landscaping things, I am so excited. In a few weeks, I will be going to Scotland. And before I go to Scotland, I'm going to Washington, D.C. to meet up with a friend of mine who is going to be joining me on the trip to Scotland. But can I just say, packing for this trip is a little stressful. I will be going from California, which here it's hot and dry, to Washington, D.C., where this time of year it's hot and humid. And apparently right now the weather in Scotland is like low 70s, mid 60s, and rain. So I'm not totally sure how to pack for this trip, especially because I'm going from California to DC to Dublin and then into Edinburgh. So it's going to be like so crazy and just so many different types of weather patterns. I have no idea how to pack, and of course I only have my carry-on and my checked bag. So this is going to be very interesting to see how I manage to get like 2 weeks worth of clothes packed into one suitcase that will accommodate 2 different types of ecosystems. I have purchased some collapsible packing bags, and I plan on wearing a lot of tank tops and things like that in DC, so hopefully those don't take up a whole lot of space in my bag. So wish me luck on that. But aside from not knowing how to pack for this thing, I am very excited to get out of the United States for the first time. I am so excited to go to Scotland. And a fun little factoid about me, I was named after the Isle of Skye in Scotland. My parents went about 29 years ago after my dad graduated from law school. And now here we are going back. So it's now kind of a family tradition. When you graduate law school, we go to Scotland. That tradition will end with me because I don't plan on having children, so there will be no additional, heirs of my bloodline that go to law school. But whatever, it's fine. It's a tradition now, and we will keep with that tradition. I guess now is as good a time as any to let you know that I am actually doing a lot of back recording. I planned on announcing my release schedules and my video timing for schedules, but with studying and some issues at home, it didn't happen. So here is my announcement. I am releasing YouTube videos on Mondays and Thursdays, sometimes Fridays instead of Thursdays, depending on how my week goes. But yeah, I hope you manage to make your way back on Mondays and Thursdays to see what's new here. Alrighty, so we are getting close to the interior of this build. I really struggled with picking a front door for this build, as you can probably tell. The lot that was originally here had this same wallpaper, and when I demolished the house, I decided I was going to bring that same wallpaper back. But I wasn't sold on the dark wood that was on that home. But as I started doing this one, I decided the dark wood probably fit best, especially since we were going to do that red roof. So you'll see that I'm doing this little patio space. I really like to include little front porch seating areas in my builds. If I don't, it usually just kind of feels naked. So I usually make enough space to at least put one chair or something out there so you can sit and watch your neighbors walk by or whatever. But I do end up changing that. I will let you know now. The color swatches that are down, actually even the whole furniture that's down, I think all of those change before the end here. So before we move into the interior of this home, I'm going to go off on one more little tangent. I am currently house sitting. I house sit for probably about 10 families total, between family friends, family, and just friends of mine in the area and in my town. I guess it's more of a city, but I digress. So I'm currently house sitting, and I absolutely adore this dog that I am taking care of. There are also 2 cats, and I freaking love them too. Don't get me wrong, but this dog is the bane of my existence, but also I love him so much. He is a menace to society, but he's so cute, and he wants to play with you, but doesn't understand that biting is not playing. So I have lots of scratches on my arms, and I am not mad about it, but it's really difficult to love something that only wants to eat you, or at least seems that he only wants to eat me. But that was not the point. The point was they're currently putting in a pool. And putting in a pool in real life is not like putting in a pool in The Sims. And I mean, building in general in real life is not like building in The Sims. But this is going to be a pretty big pain in my butt, if I'm being honest with you. This is the 3rd day that I'm here, and I'm here for another 6 or 7 days. And I have to spray down their pool every day because it just got the gunite put in. And I know nothing about pools, so please don't ask me what that means. But all I know is 3 times a day, starting tonight, I have to spray the pool down. And sure, that's not the biggest deal. But for someone with anxiety, me, in my mind, all I can think is, I'm going to mess up their pool. Some way, somehow, I'm going to screw this up. And I'm going to miswater it, or I'm not going to water enough, or I'm going to water too much, and it won't seal properly or something. And I am kind of nervous about it, and it's probably fine. But my anxiety defies logic. So here we are. Also, here we are in the interior of this build. So when I was putting in the kitchen, I really didn't know what colors I wanted or what kind of cabinetry would really go in a style of home like this. But then I also realized I have no idea what style of home this really is, and I bounce in and out of a lot of different ones, I'm sure. So I just kind of threw caution to the wind and decided to go with cabinetry that sort of matched the tile and brought out that gray. And we end up pulling it together with some brown and then some yellow accents. And I think it looks pretty good. I don't think I'd do anything differently, if I'm being honest with you. Okay, but one of my beefs with tiny homes, and this is probably just the way I build them, I really had no space for other activities in here. I thought about including a computer in the bedroom, but I realized I really didn't have the space for that. I wanted to put an easel, but really the only space that would go would have been outside, and well, I could have done that, I didn't. So I feel like there's a lot of things in this house that your Sim's gonna need, but aren't here. And in theory, you want those things to be in this kind of home because this is a tiny home, right? So you're getting all those benefits of being in a tiny home. You're gaining skills at, I think, twice the rate. So having those types of items would probably be important to have in this kind of home, but I did not put them. So if you download this home off the gallery, you might want to include maybe some books or an easel or something like that so that you can take advantage of that skill gain. Here we are in the bathroom. For once, I did kind of something different than what I usually do. I did browns mostly in here, and I usually do like whites or blues. So here we are, we got some browns. I kept that flooring throughout the whole thing, so I really just wanted to pick out different colors in that flooring. Mostly it's grays and a light brown. So I feel like generally that's pretty easy to do, but I didn't want the whole space to look the same. I am fairly certain that I ended up using the same wallpaper though for the kitchen now, if I'm being honest with you. Let's sit here and find out what I end up doing because I forgot. Oh, that's still the same. Oh, okay, no, I don't do the same one that's in the bathroom. We end up with this kind of weathered looking tile. They almost look like ceramic tiles or like tiles you'd see on the floor. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm fairly certain that all tile is ceramic tile, but whatever, it's fine, I digress. So I do end up going with something a little bit different from what I normally do and different from what I did in the bathroom. I really struggled with picking out the color I wanted on these other walls. I wanted to keep with the browns, but I didn't know like how dark of a brown I wanted to go. And I knew that I had white in the build, so I kind of thought maybe bringing in a white would be helpful. So we decided to go with this one with the wainscoting on the bottom, so we get that pop of the white there, and we also get the brown that kind of coordinates with the browns in the tile on the floor. And I like how that works out. I then found this rug, which is Dream Home Decorator. I really love these rugs. And I saw that the gray looked good with the countertops and the cabinets. And the yellow kind of created a different pop of color than what I had originally planned in my mind, which was basically just neutrals. So we threw in this painting to kind of match with that yellow. I considered making other things yellow. I thought about replacing the chairs in the dining room. I thought about making this couch more yellow, but you know, nothing really screamed to me. I did end up picking out I believe it's an Eco Lifestyle couch. Yeah, because I like that yellow and that kind of like a pale blue almost, like a blue gray. It kind of coordinates with that rug. So I think it looks good. So while I am recording, I don't think it's being picked up by my microphone, but I swear I am hearing bats. I know what bats sound like, so I feel like I can make that claim without sounding ridiculous. But every few seconds I hear this screech, which is probably a bird, but at the pitch and like the distance away that I'm at from whatever it is, it really sounds like a bat. And I don't like it. I'm not necessarily afraid of bats or bugs or like creepy crawlies and stuff like that, but it's kind of an unnerving sound to hear pretty much in broad daylight in the middle of summer. Like I did not expect to hear a bat or hear what I think is a bat. Needless to say, though, it's really thrown me off. Like, really thrown me off. I am so distracted that I forgot what I wanted to talk about when we got to the bedroom on this film. As always, I try to find a piece of furniture to base the whole room off of. It's usually a rug, and I didn't have anything in mind when I started this bedroom. So I kind of was just like, let's find a rug that fits the space in our color palette and see how we feel about it. This rug with the squares, it's cute, but like it doesn't seem to fit in with this style. It seems more modern, and the home isn't really modern. I guess the exterior is kind of modern, but it's not modern that matches the rug. So I decided to go with this more chocolate colored rug and this eco lifestyle bed. And then in the remainder of this room, we really keep with the kind of light browns, more neutral colors, white, cream, all those kinds of things. This bedroom was also really different for me since I kept that tile throughout the whole house. I don't usually do that. I usually change from like a wood or something like that, and I usually just keep tiles in bathrooms and sometimes in the kitchens. But since this is such a small home, I decided to leave it throughout the whole space. And I didn't really know how to make that more warm for a bedroom other than a rug that basically covers the entire bedroom. I also felt like keeping with the browns and the other tones from the rest of the house, it would kind of help it be more warm, more inviting, more of like a homely space. So I thought it would work well. I really don't like curtains. Man, are curtains annoying. For some reason, especially when you put two windows side by side, they never work out right. I tried all sorts of different things. As you can see here, I'm messing with those curtains, and they won't even go down. The normal ones that I usually put down in a pinch, and I'm just like, whatever, let's do this. Those didn't even work. So had to do the old reliable and pull the windows off and put down the curtain first and then go from there. It is what it is. It worked out. It's all good. I love that little lamp from Paranormal Stuff. It's so small and so cute and really not useful in a lot of different types of builds, but I feel like you can almost always throw it in a bedroom and have it work out okay. I also was finding a lot of different wallpapers I've never seen before. I've never seen that wallpaper with the fun little crown molding up top, and I'm kind of sad I haven't. However, I am working on totally not a vampire's home. There are no vampires live there. Don't you worry, they won't suck your blood. And I think maybe that I will have to add that into that build because I think it would suit that very well. It says fancy, but not super fancy. And that's kind of where I was going with that build. Hopefully that'll be up soon and you can check that out. But back to the build we're actually working on now. We're doing the backyard, and I kept with that same kind of rock garden theme, threw a couple of the plants down, threw a couple of the rocks down, and I really just kind of let it take shape on its own, really. Just started to throw in rocks where they fit into each other, where they fit so that the grass isn't like seeable and poking through the rocks in ways that are clearly impossible. And I think it worked out pretty well. Also, I think one day I'm going to take a tally of how many times I say, I think it went really well. I think it turned out really well. I really like how it turned out. I think it turned out really well. I will be honest with you, for the remainder of this backyard, I struggled a lot. So I really like doing living spaces in the exterior spaces. So I have that little sitting area in the front. I usually do a little patio or something in the back. And I knew that I wanted to do something out here. I kind of figured it would be a table instead of chairs since I put chairs in the front. So I ended up going with one of the umbrella tables from, I believe it's Get Together. But I also usually do like separate patio space and separate like landscape space. So I put down that strip right there of the terrain paint, hoping that my little table would fit there. And it looks weird, especially because this backyard is so small. It just seems peculiar to have it cut off like that. So after I get this table down, I'm like, we'll paint the whole backyard brown. That's good. But when I tell you that I immediately regretted that, I was like, this looks ridiculous. Look at this little corner here with nothing. We'll cover it with plants. Sure, why not? And I mean, it looks good, and it seems like that's a good place to have plants. So I agree that that was a good idea. But how? Like, without adding more tiles to this house, I don't quite know how I would have done a patio differently. We end up ditching the brown and going with a terrain paint that looks substantially like the tile that's inside the house. But even that, I don't love how it came out. Seem like this looks odd. Like, the more I fill it in, the worse it looks. I think it's probably partly because this is the desert and I'm used to seeing grass, and I'm more okay with leaving grass by itself than I am just like the dirt on this lot. But I don't know what else I could have done differently, and I don't know. So we delete the brown and end up with just the tile, and I think that looks about as good as I could have gotten it. So we're just going to add in some little touches here with the lights. For someone who likes to include details, I will say I forget to put in little lights all the time. I've also forgotten to put mailboxes in, so I feel like I'm doing so great with these. I just realized I didn't put in a trash can on this build. Whoops. Okay, well, it's not on the gallery yet, so hopefully I'll remember to go back and put a trash can in here. My bad. So we're just throwing down some rocks now. Again, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and like, this is the rock that I usually go to now. This is a relatively new rock I think we got right before the Werewolves pack came out. It is one of my freaking favorites. I used it on the front, but it just did not seem to go well in the backyard. So we decided to switch gears and go with this tile. This tile looks a lot like the tile on the inside, so I thought, yeah, that seems good. So that's what we go with. Delete all the terrain paint around the sides because I was too lazy to color in the lines, and then go back, get those little dirt patches underneath the trees again. And then finally pick out a little ruggie for underneath our table. That is not a rug. That is the stone floor thing from Get Together. I don't know why we have that, but there it is. So we are in the final touches here. I'm just going to go around the house with some terrain paint. Thank you so much for watching my video. Again, I'm going to be putting out new content every Mondays and Thursdays. Please come back and check out those. I am sending you good vibes and positive wishes, and happy simming.